Oh shit, it's 6:59. Kind of crept up on me there.
Hey, 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 everyone. It is a special edition of Hot Talk on a Tuesday night here in Jacksonville, Florida, overlooking the river. I am Zach Lynch, joined as always by Jason Priester. Jason, we are finally here. Christmas is over, Santa is done. Now it is time for football.
Santa's done?
Yes, he is.
I'm still waiting on him, man. You mean he's already coming on?
Oh, come on. I saw that stuff that you got for Christmas. You racked up, even though I know for a fact that you were on the nice list.
I must have been on the nice list this year. I tend to get cold and stuff, man, but it worked out for me this year. I hope everybody else had a very Merry Christmas.
Yeah, same deal. I think, that, this year has been a year where expectations haven't, fully been realized for the Tigers, but they have a chance to end this year on a great note here in Jacksonville. As you can see, we are overlooking the riverfront here. This is a gorgeous view and stuff. But this game doesn't really feel like a ball game yet, does it?
No, it really doesn't. We've been here since yesterday. Doesn't even really feel like a football game on the verge of being played in the next few days. That'll probably change tomorrow once we get to practice and some things will start feeling a little bit different. It's got a little bit different feel though than compare as opposed to some of the other bowl games we've covered in recent years.
Yeah, it sure is. And I want to make sure before I go any further that I thank all of you who have joined us so far this year on this ride. We have seen our show numbers grow exponentially, and really, it is a credit to all you out there watching. On a weekly basis. We have tons of stuff to get into over the next 3 days as the Tigers, prepare to take on Kentucky in this Gator Bowl. But Jason, we have heard so far from Gary Riley, from Wes Goodwin, from Tyler Brown, and Khalil Barnes. Is there anything that stood out to you from those initial interviews, this week, or has it just kind of been, what you expect, coach speak and glad to be here and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's kind of been what you'd expect. Glad to be here. Glad to be back on the field, on the grass. The energy's good. Preparing for a physical Kentucky team, physical defensive front. Tyler Brown, I think it was Tyler Brown today, talked about the long and athletic receivers they got. So yeah, it's the typical stuff, man. But that's kind of what you expect. And when you got two programs like Clemson and Kentucky, and two coaches in Dabo Sweeney and Mark Stoops who have a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this game, honestly, you know, it feels like it could, just be a tickle fight. I mean, because you have, you know, both of these teams, sitting here talking so nice about each other. In the past, you have had LSU, talking all their shit, Ohio State talking shit,
Oklahoma.
yeah, Oklahoma. And so, it just feels like a completely different atmosphere. The if you're coming down here, honestly, it is unlikely that you would even realize there's a game, about to be played. And it's really sad because, you think of the Gator Bowl as a historic bowl game, a game that had, great prestige and notoriety throughout the years. But this year, it's almost an afterthought.
It kind of feels that way, man. It's one of the ACC second tier bowl games. It's not one of those top tier bowl games, and it does kind of feel like an afterthought. But at the same time, I think that's the outside perception. But I think both these teams need a win in this game. And you look at all the guys for Kentucky that's going into the draft. I think there's even one or two going into the portal that have decided to stick around, play this final game. I think that tells you how much this thing means to those guys over on that side. And I think it means a lot to the guys that are playing for Clemson too. You're riding a 4 game winning streak. You want to go into the offseason feeling good about yourself. So I think this is a big game for both teams, despite the lack of a big game field.
Yeah, you mentioned, going into this year, with a off the 4 game winning streak, Clemson has the chance to end the season with back-to-back wins over SEC teams in the same way that Kentucky can end the season with back-to-back wins over ACC teams. I mean, these are two teams that are hungry for a win. I think you are seeing that, in the focus that we have seen out of Clemson. Just their laser focus. Being down here, being on a mission. And so I expect the Tigers to come out and really perform at the top of their game.
Yeah, I think Clemson's going to show up for this game. Yeah, I think it's a big game for Clemson. I think it's a big game for Kentucky, and um, you kind of ride with what brought you, in my opinion. And Clemson's been leaning on that defense over the past 4 or 5 games of the season, 4 games, particularly over that 4 game winning streak, man. And I think they'll do the same this week. It's not like Kentucky's bringing some high-powered, vaunted offense into this thing. Clemson is really good at stopping what Kentucky likes to do. They like to run the ball. They're not going to, have a bunch of explosives on you. I don't think they are anyway. Clemson's a little slim at corner coming into this thing, so
Yeah, I
maybe
was
they
gonna say,
switch things up. But Clemson's pretty stout at stopping the run and on the interior of that defensive line, and it's kind of a strength versus strength matchup. I think you kind of you ride with who brung you, man, and I think it's that Clemson defense.
yeah, exactly. I mean, the secondary at Clemson, is like a not even second and third team guys. It's like having guys that like Tink Kelly, who may be thrown into action. Having guys like, you know, who else was that I was saying it was cross trained?
Miles Oliver was
Yeah,
practicing when we were there last week, who's been hurt.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
a
yeah,
couple other guys I didn't even notice. I didn't recognize the numbers. I have no idea who they were. Mike Reed had five guys out there. Five.
yeah.
Five corners. Two of them were Shelton Lewis, Avion Terrell. One was Miles Oliver. And I don't think I even recognized who the other three were if I'm remembering that right.
Yeah, and so, you think about the secondary as thin as they are, and then you have, you know, only one guy off the line who is not playing this game, Rook. I think that says a lot that Tyler Davis, XT, you know, decided, that they wanted to, another chance to finish the season right. And I think that is something that this team, you know, well, the talk all offseason was about winning a national title. I think that losing that last bowl game in the Orange Bowl really rubbed those guys the wrong way. And they want to end their career with another ring. And so, I think it says a lot that those guys who decided to stick around, decided to give up their Christmas. The team is down here on the 24th. They celebrate Christmas down here away from their families. And if you saw the video that Clemson released and we have on our YouTube channel, the practice yesterday, all the guys, HT was saying, that there is no other place that he would rather be than right here with his brothers. Tyler Davis said the same thing. So I think that camaraderie on the line is going to be needed. I think that there is enough talent in to kind of, make up for Rook. But, I think, we are going to see the best version of this Tiger team come Friday.
Yeah, it kind of speaks to what Dabo Sweeney's created here from a culture standpoint. All these guys, they want to come back and play. Guys like XT, who's been here 6 years, Justin Mascol, who's been here 5 years, Tyler Davis, who's been here, what is it, 5 years now. These guys aren't opting out. I'm a little surprised Root's not playing, to be quite
Yeah.
honest. I understand why he's not, but I'm a little surprised he's not. I mean, I get the reason because I figured he'd be with those guys right there with them. But, again, it just kind of speaks to that family like atmosphere Dabo Sweeney's created inside that program, and it kind of speaks to when you start talking about recruiting, you start talking to recruits and stuff, and they always talk about that culture. That's what they're talking about. It's a team first mentality. Very few people are about me. It's all about we. And that's why Dabo Sweeney, part of why he's been so reluctant to go and overhaul his staff and the transfer portal and stuff, because you're not going to find those kind of guys in the portal. I'm not saying you can't find any or you can never use the portal or anything like that. I'm just saying why he was never going to revamp or overhaul his roster. You'll never see 10, 11, 12 transfers coming in here in 1 year, because they build that thing with those kids from the time they step foot on campus. They cultivate it over their entire careers. And it's not with every guy. You see some leaving for better opportunities, but for the most part, those guys stick around. And XT, Justin Mascol, Tyler Davis are just some of many examples of that.
Yeah, so let's get to some of these comments here. Tico last, has Tyler Venables been full go? I mean, last time we saw him, he was as close to full go as you're going to really get. I mean, he was in yellow, or was it green?
I think he was in yellow.
Yeah.
I think he was in yellow last time I saw him.
Yeah, so you fully expect him to go. Let's see. John Surrey since his dad and Stoops respect each other. Can't say the same for the past ball game matchups. I think, we hit on that, with just the tension, and you know, the just hatred. And honestly, I think a lot of that in the past came from simply, the fact that a lot of these teams didn't see Clemson as being on their level. They saw them as like a little brother, a little stepchild, and they didn't respect Clemson.
Oklahoma thought they were absolutely going to punk Clemson that first year Clemson made the playoff, and it turned out the opposite happened. Clemson just kind of curb stomped them. And I think the same thing with Ohio State when Clemson shut them out that year.
Yeah,
And golly, who else am I forgetting? Because there's been some lack of respect over the years on some during that playoff run. But
yeah. Well,
I don't think that's the case here at all.
I'll actually tell you, when Ohio State first played Clemson, I will never forget, just, hearing the media talk, listening to some of the Ohio State, beat writers, they were saying things like, we are going to stomp their ass. We are going to kick their ass. They don't deserve to even be on the field with us. And so, not only were they just a bunch of lame ass homers, the disrespect that they were hearing coming from them was honestly is a reflection of what they had heard all season from their coach Irvin. I mean, the a lot of times, I know this is going to shock a lot of you, but those of us in the media, we just hear, what we are told by the coaches. And so, honestly, Jason's not that smart. I am definitely not that smart. But we can repeat the hell out of what Dabo tells us and stuff. So, I was honestly shocked that first or the second year against Ohio State, with just the disrespect that was being shown.
Yeah, considering who the head coach is and who the program is, I can't say I was all that surprised. And it made it a little bit sweeter to see them get their comeuppance.
Yes.
And I'm not just saying that because it was Clemson that handed it to them. I always enjoy seeing Ohio State lose. I don't care who beats them. I always get a little thrill out of that.
Yeah, I think everyone does. Just because they're a bunch of arrogant assholes.
And it hasn't really changed much since Meyer left and Ryan Day took over. It's just, oh, man, I love seeing those guys
Yeah.
lose.
As much as I hate Michigan, I, I love seeing them.
Lesser of two evils.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I love seeing Ryan Day's look on his face as he lost. Tickler gets in and says, "Has Luke had time to really affect the O line? They gotta play great." Not sure that you're gonna see a huge difference because you know here is the thing. These coaches that just came in, they aren't going to undo what has been done the last 9 or 10 months in 2 weeks. You know, Nor do they need to. I think having a fresh voice and honestly, you know, the Luke isn't going to even come in the spring and change the scheme and stuff. That comes from Dabo and Riley. So I think that what you are seeing is a different attitude, a different way of coaching, a different level of caring about his players. And that is not to say anything against Thomas Austin, but I think what you're seeing in Matt Luke is a guy who has achieved the highest of highs, and then he has been away from coaching for 2 years, and he has a respect for it. He understands that, the impact that he can have on these guys' lives. And I think, that is the difference that I see. Just the way he has been able to create that bond so quick with his offensive line, and the respect. And so, that, Honestly, that's my thoughts on that, Luke. Jason, do you agree or disagree or have any other thoughts on it?
Yeah, I tend to agree. You're going to be hard pressed to have a new position coach come in here and 12, 13, 14, 15 practices, just kind of erase everything that's happened over the previous season. Um, he'll probably do a lot of evaluating after this game before the spring, see what those guys are best at doing, what their strong suits are. Maybe he polishes up on a thing or two here and there, but I wouldn't expect to see some vast change. You are who you are at this point. Having said that, I do think now once we get into spring, maybe you see him being able to coach some things a little bit better than maybe Thomas Austin was. Like we talked about it many times.
Yeah, it's
Clemson wants to
just
get
a
out and
maturity thing.
yeah, Clemson wants to get out and do that pulling, man, with those traps and the counters and that running game. And I don't know if that was Thomas Austin's strong suit. He never had to do it as a player. I don't know how much he did. I don't know how much he coached it actually. Matt Luke's been around a long time, man. He's done a little bit of everything. To me, that's where hiring that guy is going to pay off. Once you start getting into next season, you expecting a big time change, and this game's probably asking a little too much.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's like, you have said and coaches have said for years, at this point in the season, you are who you are, and that's not going to change. I think, like you said, that, come the spring, he'll really be able to sink his teeth into these guys and coach them hard and he'll have a status and stuff. I think what you're going to get out of Luke though in this game is a maturity. And that's nothing against Thomas Austin. He's just a younger guy who hasn't had the reps, he hasn't had the years, he hasn't had the battle scars and stuff that Luke has had. I mean, and so that is the kind of stuff that if this game does get tight, I think, is where he'll be able to kind of calm his O line down and coach them up and tell them, you know, here's what you need to do.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Again, I don't think you're going to see any wholesale changes with how they play up front. It'd probably still be, kind of simplified to an extent, like we saw over the last four games with the zone and stuff. That's kind of what I'm expecting. And then they'll start getting into the finer details and the more complicated and complex stuff as you get into spring. That Garrett Riley wants to do.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to just apologize to everyone. We are doing this remote, so we have the iPad here with your comments. I also have my phone over here with your text messages. So, if you see me looking around, it's not because I'm ignoring Jason or think he is, too damn ugly to look at. It's because, I'm just trying to make sure we get to everyone's comments. Yeah. Let's see here. John gets asked, is Hannafin confirmed out with an injury?
Based on what I saw at the last practice, Hannafin's out.
Yeah,
He's not playing.
yeah,
That's just what my eyeballs saw. Um, he was on one of those little scooters with a walking boot, wasn't even putting any weight on that thing. I don't know what happened. I would not expect to see him.
yeah. I agree. Everything I've heard, is saying that Hannafin is out. As Jason said, we haven't been told anything yet, and honestly, we don't even get the injury report until an hour and a half before the game. And so, don't expect any injury news until the game day. And let me cast the rest of the week for everyone. So, tomorrow we are actually going to head over to the Tigers practice and we will get to observe about 15 minutes of their practice. And then after their practice, we will actually meet with players who I have requested Antonio Williams. And we also get to talk to Chris Rowan for the first time. And so that is tomorrow. And then we will be back here live again tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Then Friday, I'm sorry, Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday, yeah, I'm getting my days on me stuff.
It's easy to do this week.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah. Jason and I were sitting at lunch, and he was about to give David Hood some grief for for a text that he sent.
I had the day wrong.
Yes, he did. And then Thursday morning, we'll actually get both head coaches and a couple of players in the formal press conference. And that's the last time that we get anything until game day. And yeah, we will have our special Gator Bowl pregame show at 7 o'clock Thursday night. And so, invite anyone that is in downtown Jacksonville to come see us. But, so that's kind of this week. Injury news is going to be very slow this week. The coaches are keeping things very tight-lipped, and as you would expect.
We can say that the footage they sent out today, Antonio's still in a green jersey. We can say that much. Now, when we last got to speak with Dabo, I think it was the last time we spoke with him or the time before that, I asked him about Antonio. He said he was on track to play. I fully expect him to play.
Yeah. And honestly, if he doesn't meet with us tomorrow, then you can kind of, I wouldn't say it is writing on the wall that he is not going to play, but that is kind of the test I threw out there, for him.
Well, he might want to make them think he's not going to play.
Yeah. Ooh, I see what you're doing. Or he could meet us tomorrow and make them think that he is going to play.
He looked to be moving around really well in that footage they showed us today. He was moving around really well last week when we went to a couple practices. My days are running together on me here, but he was moving around really well. Those couple of days we were out there, he was in a green jersey then too. I mean, green jersey means you can do everything but take hits. So I mean, he's doing pretty much everything, just no contact.
All right, we have a text message that's right up your alley. It says, "Are you ready for Clemson baseball?"
I'm always ready for
Yes,
baseball,
sir.
man. Is it February yet?
Yes, sir.
I can hear the ping of that aluminum bat already.
Honestly, we were sitting in our room today, scheduling out the entire year worth of content coming up, and we got to February, and we both looked at each other and said, "That's baseball." And so, can't wait for this baseball season.
Anybody that knows me knows I'm ready for baseball 24/7, and if they're playing at home, I'm gonna be there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And SC Country says, "What's up, Paul? What's up? Go Tigers." Let's take the easiest question of the night. It comes from Larry Davis. Who do you think the starting key or corners will be? Sheldon Lewis and Avion Terrell. In the story, game over.
Not even up for debate. Lewis and Terrell, and assuming they stay healthy, they will play probably almost every snap.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you can, Barnes is capable of playing corner. He played corner in high school, but man, you hate to move him out of that spot he's excelled in all season long. So, I mean, if those guys stay healthy, they're going to play pretty much
Yes, they
all
are.
game. And we've seen Terrell's already played a lot, man. He's been outstanding over there on that side opposite of Nate Wiggins. And Shelton Lewis has looked really good in the opportunities he's had.
Yeah.
If those guys can stay healthy, I'm not too worried about the corners. When you start getting dicey when somebody gets banged up and have to come off the field.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. Yeah, let's kind of digress a little bit since we haven't had a show since all this news broke. FSU has filed a lawsuit against the ACC. You know, honestly, I see this as you know, the inevitable. We knew that ultimately it was coming. I think that their snub or whatever you want to call it, getting left out of the playoffs, expedited that. But, the fact is, honestly, I'm going to stick to this until my dying day. FSU did not deserve a spot in the playoffs without Jordan Travis. They were an entirely different team. They were, you know, not the same dynamic team that we saw earlier in the season. They had no business bitching and moaning about, being in the playoffs. And so for them to file the suit now, honestly, it's just like a little kid crying in the car, because he didn't get what he wants.
Well, I think the suit was always coming, whether they
Yeah,
got in or not. But I'm with you. I don't think Florida State was one of the four best teams. And if it's about getting the four best teams, they're not getting my vote. Now, if you want to say the four most deserving teams, I might listen to your argument, but it's supposed to be about the four best. It's supposed to be the four best. I don't think they were one of the four best. And usually this thing works itself out every year since pretty much every year since we've had a 14 playoff. It works itself out. Final year of the 14 playoff, it finally didn't work itself out, and you had some controversy. Somebody was getting left out. Somebody's going to be pissed off. When you got five power leagues, four spots, it's bound to happen at some point.
yeah, exactly. I mean, and for them just to sit in the car, and bitch and moan about it, honestly, that is not a good look for them or their university. And I think, ultimately all it's going to do is upset everyone more than they were already.
What they should have done was put all eyes, all focus on Georgia, go out there and prove that they belonged. Instead, we got about 16, 17, 18 guys off that depth chart that has said bye bye. And they're not even going to play in this game.
Yeah, well, the latest one is their quarterback, Roadmaker, who, you know, basically, honestly, this is where the transfer portal can bite you in the ass, because FSU was out there shopping for a quarterback.
They are telling that guy, hey, look, man, you're not going to be our guy next year. We're going to go with DJ Uyunglele or Cam Ward, hopefully.
Yeah,
But it's not going to be you. Why is he going to stick around and play in the Orange Bowl? Hey, man, go with the guy that you started against Louisville, and I'm going to go find some greener pastures.
yes, sir. But honestly, does this speed things up for Clemson? I don't think so. I mean, this has zero bearing on Clemson. Clemson is going to, be patient, and they are going to, continue to do their due diligence and make sure that they cover their bases. But I think the FSU is just, basically like the whiny little kid.
I get asked all the time when's Clemson going to follow suit and where they're going. And one thing I would keep in mind, everybody looks at expansion through the current landscape. Big Ten, SEC. I'm telling you, I think the current landscape is fixing to become the former landscape. And sooner than anybody realized, I think the break's coming. schools are fixing to start paying players, going to break from the NCAA. You're going to see 40, 50, 60 schools, however many decide they want to go and join. And there's no way I see Clemson being left out of that. What the end result is, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be one league divided into two divisions or four mini conferences or whatever, and all splitting the same piece of revenue pie. If it's going to be two, like it is now, or like it was when the NFL started with the AFL and the NFL. I don't know how we get there yet, but that's kind of what I foresee happening. I wouldn't I would I wouldn't worry too much about Clemson being left out. And I think we've heard Graham Neff talk about that in the past. He's got to be mindful of when that break comes, and having to have a good feel for when it's going to happen, and all kinds of things go into play or in play when you talk about these kind of decisions. Again, I think the current landscape that we see college football in right now, I think 5 years from now, it's the former landscape.
I agree. We have another question on the text line. It says, with FSU's quarterback hitting the pearl, does that make DJ a lock to come down? No.
DJ is the fallback option. They want Cam Ward. If they don't get Cam Ward, maybe then you see Uiagalelei end up in Tallahassee. Got to get resolution on Cam Ward first.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, DJU, he is not, the, top QE in this world. And you have to think that if you're FSU, you can do better than DJU, who, look, he played great at times this year, and then at other times, he looked exactly like he did at Clemson.
I think DJ Uiagalelei is who he is at this point. I don't see him. I don't think he greatly improved out at Oregon State. His numbers kind of are eerily similar to his first 2 years there at Clemson. I just think he is who he is at this point. And I'll be surprised if he ends up in Tallahassee. It'll make for an interesting story if he does, though, because he'd have to play Clemson next year.
Assuming FSU is still in the league.
They got to still be in next year.
They
got at least one more year.
Uh-huh.
They had to announce before last summer, to get out that quickly. So if he ends up at Florida State, there's going to be a Clemson-Florida State matchup with DJU as the quarterback. That would be interesting. I'm kind of pulling for that to happen, even though I don't think it's going to.
Yes, it would. I mean, that FSU squad has just, been decimated by people leaving.
Live by the portal, die portal.
Yes, sir.
And then they had some big-time defections right before signing day. A top 5 class all of a sudden wasn't top 5 anymore.
Yeah, and so, do you want to kind of give your thoughts on the FSU issues, with the signing guys? I mean, is it just, the fact that Mike Norvell has made no bones about his willingness to go out and shop guys in the portal?
I think when you put a high priority on a lot of guys who are chasing the money, you are taking a big-time risk that you're not going to be the highest bidder. And in the end, a guy like KJ Bolden, he's going to flip. He's going to end up, somewhere else, like we saw it play out last week, and with a couple other guys from Florida State. So when you are chasing the guys who have their hands out, and that is first and foremost what they're looking for is the highest bidder, you're going to lose out on some of those bidding wars, and you're not going to find out you're the loser until the day of sometimes. So that's kind of the risk you take when you go after those kind of guys.
Yeah, we saw it not only with FSU, Ohio State was hit hard. The money these guys are getting now is insane. Like I saw where Arch Manning is getting like $218 million a year. NIL evaluation.
I don't put any stock into that NIL valuation
Yeah,
at On Three. It's a crapshoot. It's a guess. Arch Mann is going on record to say he's not taking any NIL money until he starts playing.
yeah,
I mean, I know some. I know some exact figures with some of these NIL deals, and if you go and look at the valuation compared to what they actually got, the differences are night and day. Sometimes every now and then they get one pretty close,
yeah, yeah.
but many times they're way
The
off.
only reason, I bring him up is to say that, money is playing a role.
Oh yes,
And I mean, you can look back 2 years ago when Travis Hunter, chose Jacksonville State, over all the, huge schools he offers from. He was a,
he was a Florida State
yeah,
commitment,
yeah,
and Dion flipped him.
yeah,
And now Dion has been the victim of a couple of flips,
uh-huh,
and he's crying about it, wanting a rule in place where these kids can't take visits after they committed, so they won't flip. When he was out flipping kids last cycle, the cycle before last, but now that it's happening to him, he wants a rule in place where it's
yeah,
gotten crazy, man.
yeah, exactly. I mean, Deion Sanders is the ultimate, two-faced guy who's going to say, exactly what he needs to say in that moment.
Yeah, I am of the opinion that the NCAA is getting everything they deserve right now. You reap what you sow. For so many years, they doubled down on it, tripled down on it, the amateurism status. Wouldn't even let these kids make money off of a YouTube channel. It was just absurd. Some of these archaic rules they had in place. If they would have just given an inch, maybe we wouldn't be here where we are right now. Maybe if you'd allowed these kids to make legit money off of their name, like off sponsorship deals. I'm not talking about pay for play. I'm talking about legit NIL. Maybe if you give an inch on some of those things, we're not sitting here where we are today. Or let them make off
Hell,
video games or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
But
or
now we got kids making 3, 4, $100,000 a month. Again, you reap what you sow, man. I think
yeah,
they asked for this and they're getting it twofold.
yes, they did. And, yeah, as we have kind of, segue off topic here,
We went way off topic.
I want to remind everyone to like and subscribe, if you haven't already. Let's see. Mhm. Sorry, I have the small iPad right here.
Having to
Yeah,
squint to see.
yeah, yeah. And so I agree with you. The NCAA is getting exactly, what they deserve. I mean, hell, I wouldn't even go so far as to say, that if they had given them pay-for play or sponsorship deals, I think, if they had just been allowed to, like, work at a, Publix or
Have a
a,
part-time
yeah,
job.
exactly, instead of telling them,
Make a few $100s off the EA
yeah,
Sports college football game. That's what ultimately ended up in
yeah,
court. One of those deals with Ed O'Bannon, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember that far
yeah,
back, but let those you're using their likeness. You're using everything about them except maybe their name. But everybody knows who that was on those video games. I mean,
yeah,
it was ridiculous, man. Throw them some. They're generating hundreds of millions of dollars, and you don't want to give them any of it. And now, even now, they still don't want to give them any of it. They want the fans to pay these NIL deals. How ridiculous is that?
yeah, exactly. I mean, all these collectives and stuff. I mean, honestly, yeah, I am far from an expert on this stuff, but, honestly, it's almost like the NCAA ran from the extreme, stamping down everything they could, with these deals. To now, it is a free for all, and no one has a clue how it works.
That's
And
because they got bitch slapped by the Supreme Court multiple times now. There ain't nothing they can do.
yeah,
I mean, it's it. It's over with. They done for. It's just a matter of time now.
exactly. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up tonight's show here. From the beautiful Hyatt Regency here in downtown Jacksonville. You do us a huge favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn the bell on so you never miss one of our
Ding
shows.
ding.
And we will be back here tomorrow night at 7 o'clock to recap the Tigers practice as well as give you tidbits that we saw and players we talked to. And we may have a special guest. So, be sure to tune in tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Jason, anything you wanted to say?
Be back same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow.
That's right. And I can speak for Jason that we are some hungry puppies. So if anyone wants to buy us supper, we are free and available. We'll talk Clemson football with
If you're in Jacksonville, hit me up.
you. I like it.
I'm hungry.
But yeah, yes, he is. So for Jason, I am Zach. Let me see here if I can get us up. Alright, we are officially up. Y'all have a great night and go
See y'all
Tigers.
tomorrow.